I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming with bright stars and bright stars through the perilous night? On the ramparts we watched and the remnant dreaming, and the rockets break glow of unresting air, gave proof through the night that our flag is still here. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave.
First item on the agenda is going to be a reading of the document from the Westport Historical Society, Tony Connors, and also present to the Chairman of the Board of Selectmen, Richard Spurlett.
Hello, very pleased to be here on behalf of the Westport Historical Society for this celebration of Westport's 225th birthday. While we celebrate what happened in 1787, we should also keep in mind that Westport didn't just spring into existence on that date. At the time, what we now know as Westport was the western section of Dartmouth, usually referred to as a Coxet or a Coxet village. There were houses and farms and mills, a vigorous fishing industry. Nearly 2,500 people lived here at that time. They had families and they sent their kids to school. They tried to manage as best they could. Their everyday lives would not change significantly, but now their government would be more local. We should also keep in mind that for several thousand years before that, Native Americans were here. They had figured out long before us that this area was great for farming and fishing, shellfish. And their name, the Coxet, became the name for this area of Dartmouth that would become Westport. I like the name of Coxet, but Westport's a very appropriate name too. If you were to travel along the coast of Massachusetts in 1787, and keep in mind that back then, Maine was part of Massachusetts. If you had started up in the northernmost coastal section of Maine and followed the coast all along Massachusetts, you would eventually come to the westernmost port in the Commonwealth. And thus, we got the name Westport. The Act of Incorporation is actually fairly long, so in the interest of time and potential storms here, I'm going to read just the first paragraph of it. It starts out, an act of incorporation for the westerly part of the town of Dartmouth in the county of Bristol into a separate town by the name of Westport. Be it enacted by the Senate, the House of Representatives in General Court assembled, and by the authority of the same, that the lands hereafter described, to wit, beginning at the southeast corner of Job Almey's homestead farm by the seashore, thence northerly, as the highway is laid out from the said seashore up to Freetown line. Thence westerly, as the line is between Freetown and Dartmouth, until it comes to the northwest corner bound of the said Dartmouth. Then southerly, as the dividing line is between Dartmouth and the state of Rhode Island, until it comes to the seashore. Thence easterly, including all the necks and islands of land heretofore known to be a part of a Coxet village, until it comes to the first mentioned bound, with the inhabitants dwelling in the lands above described, be, and they are hereby incorporated into a town by the name of Westport. And the said town is hereby invested with all the powers, privileges, and immunities to which towns within this Commonwealth are or may be entitled, agreeable to the Constitution and laws of the said Commonwealth. And it's dated July 2nd, 1787, and signed by John Hancock, who was at that point the governor of Massachusetts. And now on behalf of the Westport Historical Society, it's my pleasure to present a framed copy of that. The original is at the State Archives. This is the framed copy that I hope will find a place in Westport Town Hall.
Okay, first we'd like to thank all of you for coming to celebrate Westport's 225th birthday. It's hosted by the Board of Selectmen. I need to thank the following people who helped to make today possible. The Westport Police and Fire Honor Guard. Kim Legenda coordinated the refreshments, which were generously donated by Lee's Market. If anybody needs a drink, they are right there, and there's hot dogs for after the festivity. Again, all donated by Lee's. Jim Coyne coordinated the tent and did a marvelous job renovating the town sign out front, and the Fieldings are here that did that. It's really appreciated. Great job. Are the Fieldings here? Let's give a little wave. The gentleman that did the signs right there. Thank you very much. Perry's donated the cake, which is on the table here. We'll be cutting in a short while, hopefully, if it doesn't get flooded. The Highway Department, we thank Jack Sisson and his crew who cut and trimmed the grass and transported the bleachers here. And Martin Costa for the music and the speaker system. We appreciate it. Our hometown boy came through for us. Yep. Okay. Is our youngest person out here yet? The feeding? Okay. And we also have the Leverolts with the 4-month-old. The Duhans here with the 3-month? Okay, we have the Leverolt baby, which is 4 months old. Is he? Okay. The 4-month-old Leland Leverolt. He's our February baby of this year. Where is Leland? Leland? He's down there. Give it a little wave. And now, the 7-day-old James Andrew Godori is right here. If you want to, could you just stand up for a second? That's our youngest resident we could find. And he was just fed, so hopefully it'll be good for the walk. Thank you. Okay, we have a number of selectmen in attendance that I'd like to recognize. Please stand if you're able to, and stay standing until I read them all, please. Claude Ledoux, William Plamondon, Jim Coyne, Gary Moore, Frank Napert, Russ Hart, Veronica Boyer, Charlie Costa, Paul Schmidt, and I have Rob Rebello. I apologize if I missed anybody. Did I miss any of the current selectmen? Oh, I'm sorry, Marge Holden. Marge and Ann. Girls, are we missing a sheet? Hang on one second. Okay. We got Ann Chandez. I had Charlie. Tony Gracia. They were on the first sheet. And Richard Tongue is here. Brian Velcro. I apologize, one sheet must have got dropped out of it. I said Rob. I had Rob on the last sheet. I apologize, one sheet must have ended up in the wind here. And again, if we could just have an applause for all of those present, I appreciate them coming out tonight. History.
Good evening. I'll try and talk a little fast, not as fast as I usually talk, so I won't slur my words. Before the rain comes, good evening. It's great pride and honor that I stand before you, citizens of Westport and dignitaries who come to celebrate Westport's 225th anniversary. Westport was incorporated July 2nd, 1878. I would especially like to thank the Board of Selectmen of Dartmouth taking part in our celebration. We've also been good neighbors, and they're good neighbors to us. But most of all, I'd like to thank the original boards of selectmen who sold the land to us back in the early 1793 that started the inception of Westport, and from then it just grew, as Tony Connors was saying in a brief history of the review.
I'd like to take our hats off to, in appreciation to our dedicated town employees who keep Westport safe, secure, functioning, so that we may enjoy the beauty of Westport, okay? It's just not a one-off organization. Everybody plays an important factor inside this. I think it's important we acknowledge the vision of our forefathers, for it has been our compass as we continue to move forward in growth and in prosperity. At this time, I'd like to state publicly thank you for all those town people who serve on boards, committees, serve in any civic manner within Westport. Thank you for your civic allegiance, dedication, commitment. You are the heart of Westport, and you are the pulse of the town. We all can't do it, the selectmen. All these bodies that there, people get involved in everything, that's important. That's who we are, and that's very, very important, no matter what job that you have in this town. So again, thank you, citizens of Westport, for voting and letting your voice be heard. I feel strongly that all boards and committees will continue our forefathers' vision and forge ahead with the best is what is for the best of Westport. Enjoy the celebration. Thank you. Michael Sullivan. And we have Michael Sullivan, the clerk of the Board of Selectmen.
Thank you, Dick. At first, when Steve started talking about 225 years this and 225 years that, I thought he was complaining about how long it's been since the town's bought computers. But no, it was the 225th anniversary of our friendly secession from Dartmouth. And by the way, New Bedford's secession that same year. I like the way the contrast has been brought into today's festivities. We talked about the newest or youngest resident and the oldest resident. We also talked and recognized the oldest Board of Selectmen member, Tony Gracia, and I'd like to recognize he who was youngest when he served, and that's Rob Rebello. Given the proximity of today's date and celebration to July 4th, I couldn't help but think about the contrast of that relatively amicable breakup that we had with Dartmouth in 1787 compared to that the colonies had with the British Empire in 1776. That war finished only 4 years before we became a town. The Revolutionary War, of course, laying the groundwork for the significance of the democratic form of local government that we adopted 225 years ago. How different would our secession have been, and what form of local government would we have today had it not been for the independence that was achieved by the colonists in the Revolutionary War? Some happily suggest that we wouldn't have a Board of Selectmen. But seriously, I think that think about how confident and emboldened the citizens of that former colony must have felt after defeating the world's greatest empire at the time, the British Empire. So as a relatively new resident to town, one that has been here a mere fraction of a generation, this birthday celebration reminds me that we stand on the shoulders of all those that have come before us, and we should act in good faith with the backdrop that history has provided us. So I'd like to say thanks to Steve. He's done a heck of a job organizing this and the business-to-business folks. And with that, I'll say thank you.